First of all, thank you for joining. I hope it will be an interesting webinar for all of you. We will be talking about the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership. Basically, the call has been recently launched, so we would like to give all the information that we can, especially for people who might be interested for the first time to apply. And for others who may have applied before but want to stay updated with any changes that were made for this year's call. My name is Cristobal Aquino. I work in the internationalization unit, where we carry out this kind of initiatives and partnerships. I'm joined with my colleague Oksana from Scienza Malta, both of us. And we will be basically splitting up this presentation between us, giving you all the information, so you might be able to wish to participate. Obviously, we will be recording the session, as you might have already seen the notification. So it will be available online afterwards. So should you wish, you can switch off your camera if you don't want kind of for the camera to be on. We will have a dedicated Q&A segment after the session, so you can feel free to put in any questions in the chat. You can also choose to ask them afterwards, so feel free to do that. During the presentation, we will be asking you to keep your mic off, so we can continue maybe with the presentation smoothly. However, again, should you have any queries, we will be available both right after the session for the Q&A and to do meetings and one-to-one meetings, etc. afterwards. So yeah, we are the internationalization unit. So basically the aim of our unit is to internationalize, so trying to give as much opportunities as we can for Malta-based researchers to collaborate with other researchers abroad and companies abroad. Basically, the idea here is to try to align national priorities with European priorities to do kind of this collaboration in research and tackle the problem or the issues in a more global manner. So at the end of the day, we follow international trends, obviously, as part of our aim, strengthen international R&I collaboration, and in our case, using national funds. So we do all of this using mostly national funds that are provided nationally in collaboration and with the opportunities provided by the EU. So as a unit, so just to get an idea for us, so the budget commitment for 2025 is approximately 5 million in local funds. So this is between all the partnerships and initiatives that we carry forward. We have different initiatives, some of which starting from an 8,000 euro mobility grant to a full-fledged research proposal, which would be around 500,000 euro grant. So this is basically saying that even if you are not particularly, the SBEP is not particularly right for you, there are other initiatives in a huge range of options to go towards. So the majority of our schemes are refinance grant schemes. So we would be giving you a good tranche, a 50% tranche of the money as soon as the project is meant to start. So this gives you a bit of leeway in terms of how to work and the finances available. Yeah, so we have two general portfolios, the multilateral portfolio and the bilateral portfolio. Bilateral basically means that you would be collaborating with one other country in order to do this kind of research. So for example, you could collaborate with China or collaborate with Turkey for a full-fledged kind of research. This would be a bottom-up call, so you could choose any kind of topic or any particular thing that you would like to study. As long as it fits under the general criteria of that partnership, you should be fine. So for example, a general criteria would be digital technologies or green and blue as a thematic. So things like that. So this is a bit more broad in terms of spectrum, and then you would go from there. The Spire provides other seed grants and small funds like the 8,000 ones I've mentioned with different countries, so you can get in contact with us for more information about these. Obviously, these are not the focus of today's presentation, but if they interest you, we're here to answer questions. This is the multilateral portfolio. It's quite extensive, as you can see at this point. We will be focusing today on the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, on the blue aspect, but we have others in health, for fresh water, in clean energy, antimicrobial resistance, as well as the A2P, which is an initiative that we run and have created from our end to give you access to a lot of other initiatives and partnerships under Horizon Europe. So if you feel like these are not the thematics for you, again, get in contact with us because the A2P really, really provides much more than this. So this is more or less what I'm talking about in terms of all the initiatives available. The ones listed here, kind of highlighted in a box there, are the ones that we are particularly partners in. So the ones like SBEP and the Clean Energy Transition Partnership and Brain Health, etc. The others are all open to you as well through the A2P. So if you have ever been interested in a Horizon Europe partnership and thought, well, Malta might not be a partner, or you're not sure, now is the chance to get in contact with us as well. So Horizon Europe partnerships, I'm just going to give a brief as to how they kind of work and then go into SBEP in more detail. So these are collaborative initiatives between the European Commission and member states that fall under Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe. These work basically by pooling EU funds with dedicated national funding, so a percentage co-financing, and to mobilize greater resources and create synergies across borders. The Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, basically, it has a particular aim. This is as I said, kind of a collective of people that created this partnership. So they have particular aims which align with national priorities as well as European goals. It's to basically drive an inclusive transition in the blue economy, deliver solutions aligned with the European Green Deal and the UN Sustainable Goals, etc., Sustainable Development Goals, etc. Obviously, then the general final aim for the partnership would be to help and accelerate the shift to climate neutral and sustainable competitive blue economies by 2030. So how this works? So this collective was organized. They implement an annual joint transnational call. So every year they implement this call for proposal, including money that is coming from the EU and national funds coming together. So pooling resources basically to fund these international R&I projects. A joint transnational call would be what is open right now. So we would have, as we are saying, this collective that is funding, opening the proposal for funds. For example, for Malta-based entities, you would be getting your money, the money for the research grant from us as national funds, as the funding agency for Malta. However, you would be collaborating with a number of other countries that will also be getting their funds from their particular funding agency. So as you can see here, national partners basically collaborating through this opportunity provided by the Common Call, and each beneficiary is funded by their own national funding agency. So Malta is giving 500,000 in this case to fund the Maltese beneficiary. For example, an Italian beneficiary would be funded then by their national funding agency, and they might have a different amount. So basically then there's a collaborative aspect that all these beneficiaries are coming together for this one goal. This year's joint transnational call. So this is basically the thematic utilized for this year. It's digitalization and innovation for resilient marine ecosystems. businesses and communities to strengthen the EU blue economy's competitiveness. This is the general umbrella for this year's call. Obviously, now we will go into a bit more detail on the specific thematics that it aims to address. The call includes around 38 funding organizations from 28, and even it might have increased as well this year. Apologies for that. I believe it's 30, and you can collaborate with all these countries and funding organizations. Um, so the maximum budget, as I've said, for the Malta-based entity is 500,000. The aim then would be to have a research priority, so the main scientific and innovation areas of the partnership would be addressed in the proposal that we would be creating with a specific targeted impact. So obviously, a kind of impact for the project would need to be identified. The priority areas. So going from that umbrella statement that I've said before, these are a bit more in detail as to what they're expecting to be the output of these projects. So digital twins of the ocean at sub-basin scale, transitioning the blue economy sectors, climate smart planning and managing sea uses at regional levels, blue bioresources for sustainable fisheries, aquaculture, and new bio-based products, as well as resilient coastal communities and businesses. I will be going through a bit of detail on each of these. However, most of the information you can get from the call text, which is much more technical than our capacities, as well as that there will be an information session from the SBEP Secretariat that will be held on the 6th. So, and we will be sending you the link of this as well. So if you want more details on these priority areas that we will not be giving here, you can use those resources to help you further. So, for example, the digital twins of the ocean at a basin scale. So this would be project created to test digital twins of the ocean for specific EU sea areas. So according to the areas as identified in the call text, aiming to support local decision making and based on reliable quality ocean data. So basically trying to create these digital twins, in order to inform policymaking better. The second priority area is transitioning the blue economy sectors and the development of the marine multi-use infrastructures. That means that projects would develop sustainable digital tools, new materials, business models that enable multi-use marine infrastructures. Again, more information is in the context. The third one is climate smart planning and managing sea uses at regional scale. Here, projects should target ecosystem-based maritime spatial planning, developing science-based tools for decision-making, addressing knowledge gaps, supporting cross-border cooperation across sea basins. For the blue bioresources, projects will be expected to support sustainable use of blue bioresources across value chains, reducing waste, creating new biomasses, and creating innovative products. Here, on this specific priority area, there is the need to include a member from the industry. So basically, this would be a partner either from another country, or if you would like to have another national partner, as long as an industry stakeholder is involved in the consortium. These till now have been the ones that have been relevant last year. So for whoever has been is already familiar with SBEP, you should already have a good idea of these. However, a fifth one was added for this year, which is the resilient coastal communities and businesses. Here, projects are expected to enhance resilience coastal infrastructures like harbors, piers, marinas, etc., that are facing climate risks, advancing innovative nature-based solutions, and supporting sustainable coastal economies while safeguarding the marine environmental quality. So these are the participating countries in SBEP. just to give you a bit of an idea. There can be other countries that are also included in the consortium that are outside of these. These would be self-funded partners and would not count towards the minimum consortium requirement of the partnership, which we will go into. However, this might give you a good idea if you're already familiar with some partners that you might want to collaborate with abroad. Hopefully, this could be of a bit of an assistance. So this is the technology readiness level scale that we utilize for that's relevant for this partnership and for all Horizon Europe partnerships. So basically what we're saying here is that um, you can have just an idea basically, and you start from TRL1, which is a basic kind of just the basic principles that you want to try to research and test, and you want to try to get it up the TRL level. So you start researching and you go to, for example, an experimental proof of concept by the end of the project. So you would have a start TRL and an end TRL. So where you are expecting to go. This is the whole scale. So basically we're saying around TRL 8 to TRL 9 would be entering the market. So so that would be much more advanced in terms of research. With regards to SBEP, we are talking here about TRL1 to around TRL7, which would be the funding TRL. So you could obviously, you wouldn't start from TRL1 and the TRL7. So this would be depending on where where your idea or the project is right now in terms of concepts and in terms of advancements. So we're going to go through now the national specifications of the call, so more or less what you can get as funding and how you would need to go about it, etc. My colleague Oksana will be doing this, so I'll leave the floor to her. Thank you.
Right. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see you, and it's nice that you found some time in your busy schedules to come and join us in this webinar. I'm the new addition to the SBEP team, and I'll try to guide you through the national specifications. I still hope we have your attention, and we'll start with we'll start with the general call specifications. So first of all of the consortium partners need to have the participation identification code, which is also known as PIC, and as well as the NACE code. Another important aspect is that the eligible entities must be registered and have the operating base in Malta. In terms of projects, these can last up to 36 months with the funding provided by us at the 500,000 per project, and obviously available for Malta-based applicants. And please bear in mind, since you will be a part of the consortium, it can be more people, so per project you will have more money, as respective partners will have the respective funding from their agencies as well. Another aspect to bear in mind is that projects must involve at least 3 independent legal entities from at least 3 different countries. The proposals are also expected to consider a minimum of 2 European sea basins, and to assess as well, ideally to assess the project proposal impact on various basins. Each project must have a coordinator to oversee the projects, with other members serving as partners. So it's up to you to decide if you will be a coordinator in this case. The consortium coordinator is the one who will be submitting the full application via the SBEP EPSS online tool. And the call itself follows a 2-stage process, so meaning the pre-submission, pre-submission and full submission, which involves both national and transnational applications. It should be noted that the projects must be impact-driven, meaning that you should show that you have an impact towards that it will have an impact towards the transformation into the blue economy. Moving to the eligibility for national funding, these are the indication of the eligible entities. So these are LSCs, professional bodies, voluntary organizations, RKDOs, public entities, as well as the non-profit making organizations. It's an important disclaimer is that all Malta-based applicants must comply with the national rules for participation. Moving to the funding modalities that the options that you have. So it depends on the nature of the eligible entity. So for non-economic entities, the non-state aid rule apply, and the requested funding can go up to 100%. And for the economic entities, you can go for the route of the de minimis or the GBER. To go in a little bit of a detail for the state aid route. For the de minimis, if you choose the minimis route, the requested funding and the funding that we can provide is up to 75%. We would like to note that if you haven't exhausted the capping of the 300K over 3 years, we would advise to go through the de minimis route, not least because it's less administratively heavy, and because the travel and subsistence is covered under this route. And under the GBER, the funding can go up to 70%, and this is split into the 3 categories. So 25% is the stationary percent. This remains the same. And with the extra funding granted to the projects who engaged in effective collaboration and disseminations, this is at plus 20%. All of this also depends on the size of the undertaking. So respectively, the small undertaking would be granted the 20% and the medium would be a 10% addition. Moving to the eligible costs. So eligible costs are the personnel, specialized equipment and consumables, obviously relevant to the project, subcontracting, costs of IP and knowledge transfer activities, as well as travel and subsistence. Just to note again that the travel subsistence, they do not fall under if you choose the route of the GBER. There's also we give an extra percentage for overheads and other operating expenses. This is just to recognize that there might be other expenses, so to give a bit more of flexibility for you to navigate the process. Moving to the personnel costs, so under the non-economic, de minimis and GBER, under all of these routes, the project management is capped at 10% of the total project value and should be allocated to and described within the research tasks. The maximum hours which can be claimed is 1,720 hours, and the hourly rates are obviously specified in the respective national rules. Just again, a disclaimer that each year there is a 5% increase in those. All right, when it comes to equipment and consumables, under the non-economic and de minimis route, the cost to purchase and lease specialized equipment and the cost of research consumables should not exceed 30% of the project value. Under the GBER, depreciation costs of specialized equipment for the extent and period used for the project, and it needs to be verified by the certified public accountant. The costs of specialized equipment is only eligible if the lifetime of the equipment is equal to the lifetime of the project, naturally. And it follows the same rule as the cost of research consumables should not exceed 30% of the project value under GBER. When it comes to subcontracting under all of these routes, non-economic, de minimis, and GBER, it is allowed for up to 25% of the project value, and it must follow fair procurement procedures. These are the important points. For the IP and knowledge transfer activities, again, under all of these routes, the cost of knowledge transfer activities and patents bought or licensed from outside sources are to be at arm's length conditions. When it comes to travel and subsistence, under the non-economic and de minimis route, you can opt for economic flights and public transport, most economic solutions, obviously, and per diems for up to 14 days in a row. For the attendance of consortium meetings, up to 2 persons will be eligible to attend the meeting. And for the attendance of international conferences, up to 2 persons will be eligible to attend per 6 months. Under the GBER, the third time I'm stressing this, the travel costs are not eligible. When it comes to overheads and other operating expenses under all of these routes, these are the costs that are incurred directly as a result of the project, and these will be covered at a 20% of direct eligible costs claimed. So the rate is 20%. When it comes to ineligible costs, the items that we would not be in a position to cover, these would be the expenses related to loans and interests, expenses which are recoverable through other funding mechanisms, repurchase of the same equipment, purchase and or leasing of equipment and services from partners or their subsidiaries, standard office equipment, obviously like a mouse or a keyboard, personnel hours for traveling, and any other costs that are not listed as eligible costs as per national rules. This is just an indicative process and a timeline for you to consider. So the first thing you should do is get in contact with us. We're more than happy to help you with any aspect of the application. If you need to find partners or anything really, just first of all get in contact with us. Then you could also utilize the SBEP partnership partner search tools, and they also have the brokerage events organized up to I think 13th of November. These could be of interest for you as well, and this would obviously lead to submitting the required applications. And I will guide you through the application process. I'll try to be brief. The first thing you need to do is submit the national application form and relevant annexes via email to EU Submissions Scienza Malta by the 17th of November midnight. So this is the national application that you need to submit. The national application form will be evaluated administratively, but the project proposal submitted by the project coordinator to the SBEP Secretariat undergoes an eligibility check and external technical evaluation. This is the timeline for you. This is the timeline which should guide your process. So the call was launched on the 15th of September. Now we're heading towards the first stage, which is the deadline of which is the 17th of November. This is the pre-proposal submission, and it should be done to the partnership, to the SBEP by 3 p.m. On the 17th of November. The national pre-proposal submission is the as indicated, 17th of November, 23:59. We're giving a few extra hours just for you if you need to go through, if you need to go through any additional process in terms of national documents if you need extra time. The stage 2 deadline, it should be noted that this one will be upon invitation, and it's set as the 17th of June 2026. This is where the full proposal should be submitted. Then the funding decision is to be taken in November 26, with the project starting in December 2026 to June 2027. To delve a bit deeper into the submission procedure, the stage 1. In the stage 1, the pre-proposal stage, the coordinator needs to create the account on EPSS, the online submission tool. The coordinator needs to add partners to the consortium, and the partners can input their own data, and they also need to validate their participation. There is also a need for required indicative budget for each partner. Category budgets can be indicative, but the total cannot increase. The national documentation and annexes to be accounted for as per national rules. This is just a table for you for your guidance, just so that for the ease of reference to consider. For this stage 2, under the full proposal submission, again, just to note that this is upon invitation, the coordinator submits the 16-page project description on EPSS, the same tool. The budget, it is a requirement to submit a detailed budget for each partner. The it is an important disclaimer is that the information given in pre-proposals is binding. So it is not possible to change the content of the project between stage 1 and 2. And again, further national documentations and annexes to be submitted as per national rules. And again, you see the table just for you to again as a reference to guide your preparations. Regarding the submission of documents, this is a a scheme, an image to guide, just to ease up the process for you a little bit. So under the Shenza Malta website, under the funding schemes and the open funding schemes, you will find the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, where you will find the national rules for participation as well as the national application form. And in our resources page, just a bit below, you will find all of the relevant annexes. Now, just thank you very much for staying with us during this presentation. And just in case you have any questions, it's your time to ask them now. But either way, we're happy to receive them by email, and we're also happy to arrange one-on-one sessions if should there be such a need. So in case you have any questions, please, it's your time to speak up.